Hey guys, welcome to the Powerful Man Show, where we help married businessmen save their marriages without having to talk about it, get unstuck, and gain clarity in their lives. As I like to say, life is too short for average. I'm your host, Doug Holt, with my co host, Tim, the Powerful Man Matthews. Now let's get this started. Hey guys, welcome to another episode. Tim, great to see you, buddy. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right. I'm doing
Uh-oh.
all right. We
All
spoke
right.
a bit. Yeah, I'm not going to pretend that it's always sunshine and rainbows over here because it's certainly not.
Well, you live in the UK. It's not
uh,
always sunshine.
yeah, very true. Very true. Kind of in one of those situations. We go away in 10 days. You go to an Alpha Reset, and then I think you're away as well. And we're going on a bucket list holiday, right? Safari, Seychelles, and as always, worst time to be going away.
Yeah. It's always the worst time, right?
Yeah, I've not communicated that to Amelia. I don't think I need to. There's been a lot going on within the movement. There's been a lot of team members joining, a lot of training the people, a lot of mentor support, which is all great. I asked for it, wouldn't change it, love the journey, and doesn't necessarily mean that the challenges um, are easier at times. Even with the tools and the awareness, for me, I can still experience stress and it can filter into other areas of my life. But as you know, we're not perfect. We don't pretend to be. We're in the conversation, and we'll share about that today.
Yeah, this is an interesting time because, we work with business owners. We're business owners and have been for a long time. So we go through a lot of the same trials and tribulations that our guys go through.
Hmm.
I get it too. I'm leaving. We're going to lead an Alpha Reset in Vermont, which is going to be amazing. Got 10 amazing men showing up there. A total of 14 of us will be in attendance. And then right after that, right, I go see my family and I'm going to go offline for a week. We rented a house on the beach in Maine. And so I'll be completely offline at the same time. Uh, Beyonce of operations, our right hand woman, she's going to be in Peru. And then we have one of our master coaches. He's going to be on a spiritual journey, so he'll be out.
Hmm.
And so
You,
out of the
Stu's
30,
out as well.
Stu is out. So out of the 30 some people that are involved in the movement directly, we're gonna have a large portion of them gone in the same week. So it should be fun.
Mm, yep, yep. So anyway, rolling on to this topic. So I just came off an inner circle call with the amazing men in that group. Happens every Wednesday. We record these on a Wednesday. And to your point, right? We're business owners. We go through a lot of same trials and tribulations. Hence why we can come up with the tools to support them, right? And anyway, one of the guys on the call began to share some of his trials and tribulations right now, and he said, there's a little bit of a lull in my relationship right now. I've been focused elsewhere. There's been things that have come up in business. A lot of my attention has been focused over there, just steadying the ship. And honestly, I've not been doing some of the basics in my relationship to connect with my wife. And man, I realized it the other day, and I realized when there's a lull in the relationship, that it takes is just for me to break it. All it
Mm,
takes is for me to just reach out, grab a hand, have a moment of quality connection with her, check that what's going on for her, and all it is me initiating it. I just forget this, and when I get out of the habit of it, then I just stop doing it, and it becomes harder then to do it again the next time. And I very much resonated with this. The past 3 weeks, there's been a lot going on within the movement in the background. As I alluded to earlier, don't need to go into the details, but there's been a lot going on. Over the past 3 weeks, I've worked a lot, both in terms of days and the hours in the days too. And again, like I said, it definitely isn't a complaint. I've chose this. I love what we do. I would not change it, even though, there's times when I feel like I would. And as a result, what's happened between Amelia and I is I've been so focused on what's been going on and diving into it. And that's what I typically do. When there's a problem, I just kind of become a bit obsessive. and I want to fix it and solve it. And whether that's developing a leader in the team, whether it's a marketing thing, an operational thing, whatever it is, right? If it requires my attention, I want to dive in and I want to solve it as quickly as possible, like most guys do. And as a result, in the process of that, I can become uh, rigid and distant and um, kind of insular in some respects. I mean, I'll share with Amelia what's going on, but I'm definitely not investing in quality time with her. I'm still doing my Alpha Rise and Shine. Keeps me saying I've got to do my Alpha Rise and Shine. Still doing that, still working out. But then as soon as that's done, working, as soon as that's finished, journaling, then by that time I'm wiped out, got an hour or two before bed. And I'm not connected with Amelia in that time. There's no quality time there. And amongst that, over the past 3 weeks, we've had visitors, people coming and staying with us, which again, when they're here, we kind of feel obliged to entertain them a little bit. So she was taking the lead and all that. And anyway, we're out for a walk on Friday, one of the first times we've been able to really spend some time together properly. And the shit tests I have been getting over the past few weeks have been mounting and mounting and mounting. And I have been responding well most of the time. But it got to the point last Friday when we were out on this walk, and Amelia just kind of let rip with it all. She just had enough. And I was present on this walk. I was doing a good job. My phone was in the car. I made sure I
Doing a
was
good
there.
job.
I was connecting with her. And I knew we were connecting, right?
Yeah.
She was like, I'm simple. I don't ask for a lot. I just like to go for a walk. I like to enjoy some food with you. I like to connect with you. And she then starts to go on about, obviously, we're planning a family, right? Well, how much time are you going to take off when I have a child? Like, I want to know right now, how much time are you going to be taking off? I'm like, well, I can't, I can't, we're not there. Like, I'm not going to commit to a block of time right now when we don't know what's going on. Well, no, that's just not good enough, is it? And anyway, it carried on. And what came out of it was the fact that she didn't feel connected to me, right? Her needs weren't being met with quality time. At the same time, over these few weeks, my needs weren't getting met. Typically, as guys, it's physical touch, right? For the most part, it's physical, it's intimacy,
Yep.
and it comes in different forms. That's for me, anyway. So she begins to feel distant because I'm distant. I then feel distant because my needs are not getting met, which then comes to yesterday, and we just sat down. I said, "Hey, do you know that you said you're a simple woman? Well, I'm a really simple man too, and I know that you think that you've not been getting quality time. Well, I've not been getting not been getting intimacy either, right? I didn't go into it aggressively or annoyed or charged like I may have done in the past. It was nice to be able to say, hey, look, this is the pattern we're in right now. We've been here before. It's always the same conversation. All it takes is for one of us to break it. We agreed to not be in a position where, well, you're not doing this for me, so I won't do it for you. It doesn't always have to be on me. It doesn't always have to be on you, but one of us gets to break it because right now we know we're disconnected. When we're in that position, I refuse to be in a place where I'm a roommate. I ain't gonna do that. Where I just work, cook some meals for us, get the food, whatever. You do this, you do your thing, I work. No, it's not going to work. So we get to just break it and shift it. And it was a bit more light. There's a bit more lightness to it than that, which worked well. And but it was just nice to catch the pattern without it needing to erupt. In the past, a long time ago, it would have erupted. At one point, I would have erupted. She kind of erupted, not as much as she has done in the past. Um, so I wanted to talk about that really. I wanted to get your take on your experience with this. Obviously, as a business owner, right? It's very easy to kind of fall into that trap, and how you've dealt with it throughout your experience as well.
Yeah. I mean, I've been in this many times. And, right now, as you know, I'm coming back from a mastermind in Scottsdale. And while I was away, my family flew out to the East Coast. So, I'll be away from them for 3 weeks, right? Coming up on 3 weeks. And I only share that with you and the listeners because you're gonna have the same thing. I'm working. I was sending you messages late into the evening last night. And when you consider it, and I have had this before, what I've done is I've sat down with my wife, and we just had conversations about it. And so what we came to the conclusion of was quality time versus quantity time.
Mhm,
And, we basically, my wife said, look, I know you're an entrepreneur. That's never going to change. You're always going to be have something on your plate to do work. And I would never want to change that from you. However, I want some quality time, not the quantity time. So when you are with us as the family, then my request would be at least one night a week or two nights or whatever it is that you don't have your laptop out, your phone out, you're not checking messages, responding to clients or any of those things that a lot of us can fall prey to, right? I mean,
mhm,
that's the reason I don't have an Apple Watch because I mean, yeah, it looks great. I'm sure it'd be convenient. However, I would be on it all the time. There's no shortage for you, Tim, or for me. We have thousands of men involved in the movement we call a powerful man. And, I can speak for myself. I get at least 20 messages a day. And I would love to get back to everyone. I just can't. And it used to be a lot more. Most of the guys know now that, they can't get a hold of us as much. It's not because we don't want to get back to them. It's just we just can't do it and maintain the practice of what we preach, that lifestyle. So when I've had those shit tests, as we call them, as it's called for most people, where my wife is pushed up against me, so to speak, for working too much or working too hard, we sit down, we have a conversation about it. And I get to the real
mhm,
root of what's happening. Where's that disconnect? And what I found over the years is, again, having that little bit of quality time, that just very much the quality time and little check-ins. These micro check-ins through the day are extremely important, especially in the morning, right? Starting the morning. And then as we teach the guys, collecting the berries in the evening if you can. I don't always do
mhm,
that, but definitely in the morning, a little love tap on the butt. And it depends on where you are in your marriage, right? In your relationship. So
mhm,
if you're too far off, then you got to do some other work to get to that point. But simply just one thing of gratitude or recognition in the morning, first thing, allows that connection and then communication. Eh,
mhm.
Hey, today's going to be a long one, so I'm not going to be around for dinner. And try to communicate. I try to communicate that as far in advance as possible. I found that's helpful because then my wife now can make plans. And I think where a lot of guys fall short is they don't communicate that they're going to be home late. They don't communicate early. And then the woman feels as if all of a sudden she has to pivot, right?
Mhm.
My wife stays at home, so she's cooking the dinner. She could have gone out with friends and and people who had other kids rather than waiting for me to get done with work. And had she known ahead of time. So it comes down to, for her, at least in our relationship, a level of respect.
Yep, I'd agree. I think in terms of what can you do if you're resonating with this, because you mentioned some points there. Um, I think you've got to be aware of your pattern as well, right?
Oh, yeah.
Because for me, when I was unaware of the pattern, um, it would take me a few weeks before I realized, hang on a minute, this is what happens when I feel disconnected. And for me, what I used to do is I'd withdraw, right? I'd feel disconnected. I wasn't getting my needs met. So then I'd start to pull away emotionally. I'd be less engaged, less present. It makes it far easier then at that point to fall into deer, right? Defend, excuse, explain, react. I then also become combative as well. Like I was trying to fight for power or some kind of control in the relationship because I kind of felt so out of control to a degree. And I'd also feel insecure as well because I didn't feel desired and I didn't, the needs weren't being met, right? Physically. That can then lead to feelings of insecurity and self doubt. And then you can make up stories. And I'd find myself having less eye contact with Amelia and been less engaging, so more one word answers in response to questions versus actual conversations. Little to no validation, really. That goes to the one word answers as well. I'd be on my phone more. I'd have fewer boundaries at work. So I'd just think it's okay to then continue to work long past when I'd say that I'd be finished. I'd resist her. Part of being in a great relationship is you allow yourself to be influenced by each other, right? But when I was in that place, I'd resist her and had to create unnecessary boundaries as well. Like we do things for each other. So if I'm getting up, for example, when let's say we're watching something on Netflix and I go to the toilet. She's like, "Hey, can you fill my water up?" Sure, no problem, right? Whereas if I'm in this place and I'm feeling disconnected, it's like, "Hey, can you get my water?" I'm like, "Can you fill my water up?" It's a pause. I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking, do I really want to do that for you? And then I'm like, can you not just get it yourself? Like, I'm going to the toilet. I just create these unnecessary boundaries and pick fights essentially.
Yeah.
And then I wanted to blame her as well. Like, it's her fault. She should appreciate it when, when that I'm working at. She should have a bit of understanding. She should get that it's not always like this. There's always blame. She should initiate or she should do whatever, right? Um, but it's all part of that pattern. So I think if you resonate with this, taking a bit of time to realize what your pattern is, so you can recognize when you fall into it, and then when you do fall into it, because inevitably you will feel disconnected at times, right? It's just life. It's part of a relationship. You're able to spot that you fall into the pattern. And then, like you were saying, have a quick conversation around what's going on and just recalibrate. And the faster you do that, the less charged the conversation is going to be. In the past, for me, when I wasn't aware of the pattern, and it went on for too long, usually that conversation would come off the back of me withdrawing and erupting. And the word I might say something in response to something she does that's completely out of context and overreaction. So where's that from? And well, you just don't appreciate anything I do. Oh, what do you mean by that? And then it comes out that I'm feeling unappreciated or whatever it is.
I like the voice you give
Um,
her.
and it's, but I think the flip side of this as well is Amelia, and I don't know about Erin for you. I'm thinking about this guy on the inner circle call as well. She's always following my lead,
Yep.
always. So it's almost like I lead the I've got to allow myself to lead the relationship into that place for it to go there. And at the same time, all it takes is for me to quickly address it. Whenever I address it, it always shifts almost instantly. She's far better at making a quick shift than I am. It shifts almost immediately, like to yesterday when we were speaking about something yesterday, and comes up during the day, and yeah, just comes up and gives me a hug, brings me a coffee, and just other little things, right? And it's just because like I forget to do certain things, she forgets to do certain things, right? And it's just that tiny bit of course correction. But when you do it and you realize that you can influence it so easily, instead of letting it go out of control, I think it's a very empowering uh, reminder, really, more than anything.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. And something that came to mind as you were speaking, we're talking about a lot of this is when you do connect with Amelia or who's your partner, or if I connect with my wife, we're often talking about these disconnects, I guess, after work, right? After the working times. And so you wrote a really cool thing that we use called the alpha decompression cheat sheet, which allows guys to go step by step through the basically decompression process. When I was in Scottsdale, I met up with one of the guys that's in the Brotherhood, which is our 1-year mastermind group for men who graduate the activation method. And I was talking to him and he's like, Doug, I pretty much nailed the morning routine. I had that down already. A lot of people know about morning routines, but what I didn't have was the decompression routine. And when I got involved, this guy turned his marriage around through the activation method. And when he got involved, that was a key component for him, was how do you decompress after work? This guy's an A player, like all the guys that we work with. And so, he's got a lot of stress. He's managing a lot of people. There's a lot going on. He's got targets to hit and goals. And so the alpha decompression worksheet or cheat sheet, excuse me, I think is a great way because as you're talking about, Tim, you do your ARS, your alpha rise and shine, and you're crushing it. You have to do that, right? Otherwise, it's too much for you. But how often, it's so easy for all of us, myself included, to skip that decompression. And most
Mm,
people in our in the world of business don't talk about decompression and how important it is. In fact, guys, if you want that decompression cheat sheet, go over to our Facebook group. It's free. There's a post in there. You'll see me in a car just talking about it. Go down there and just put the word decompression. Really simple, and somebody will get it to you. You just got to go through our Facebook group. If you're not on Facebook or don't want to do that, you can email VIP, V as in Victor, I as in India, P as in Paul, at thepowerfulman.com. And just tell me you want the decompression cheat sheet that Tim wrote up. It's absolutely great. It's a great way to start your day. But so Tim, when I do that, right, and I decompress, and for me, as I've talked about in the podcast, I have a sign I hit when I walk out my office. That allows me to have that quality time versus quantity time that my wife requests. And when I do that, the shit tests are fewer and farther away on that issue, right? It doesn't mean I don't get them in other areas, but in that particular issue, they go away because I've taken time to decompress. I've taken time to bring energy. And to your point, she's going to follow my lead, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
So now my family is in more harmony. When I don't decompress, I bring, as all of us do, kind of that anxious energy coming from business or just being tired because, you're out there making decisions at a high level all day. It's easy to get fatigued when you don't fill your own cup.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, completely. Completely. I think I've been allowing my decompression to get away with me because I've been, to be fair, I've not been doing every step of it. I've mainly been doing a few steps that I won't dive into now for obvious reasons. But like you said, the guys can get that. But then I've been allowing my journaling to carry away, and I've been sat there chilling, watching Netflix with Amelia, but my Remarkables at the side of me, and I'm making a few notes as they come to me. You know how that goes.
Oh yeah, my wife hates
the
that.
Point where that's helpful to a degree, but then
that.
at the same time, it's like quantity versus quality. I think that'll be the biggest takeaway for me coming out of this. That reminder of quality versus quantity. Because you're right, it goes a long, long way.
Awesome. Well, Tim, thanks for bringing us to the table. Gentlemen, as we always say in the moment of insight, take massive action. We'll see you next time on The Powerful Man Show. All right, guys, that's a wrap for this episode. But as I always say, in the moment of insight, take massive action. You see, there are two types of men that listen to a podcast like this. Those that go on from one podcast or show to another, just hoping things are going to change and realizing that they're going to be in the same place month after month, year after year. You see, I was this guy, so I completely get it. You may just not be ready. But there's also a second man that listens to a show just like this. And this is a guy who takes massive action so they can shorten the learning curve, compress time, and get results to be the wolf. See, wolf is an acronym for wise, open, loving, and fierce. Now, ask yourself, which one am I? And just be honest with yourself there. And there's no judgment on my end, but if you're ready to move from deactivated deer mode, which is defend, excuse, explain, react, to activated wolf, wise, open, loving, and fierce, then go over to thepowerfulman.com/grow and go there now. In fact, I'll make it super easy for you. I will even put the link right in the description here so you can just click it and go over there now to learn more. Guys, in the moment of insight, take massive action. Go from deactivated to activated because like I said, life is too short for average. And I'll see you on the next episode.